Gardner also talks of two what we call social intelligences. The intrapersonal intelligence, the ability to unleash the power of your mind from within, to have an uncommon hold on yourself and to be able to access the vast reservoir of knowledge and peace. Swami Vivekananda comes to mind, Mother Teresa, somewhere, Gandhiji. Twin of interpersonal, the flip side of it. I think it builds on your ability to be in the other person's shoes. So can I feel what Simran is feeling right now? And so whatever I say, if it is informed by that, I would obviously have a greater influence over you. So we mentioned Gandhiji in the context of intrapersonal, but I think his ability was to be able to unfold himself over an entire people. And I think a kind of somewhat more controversial modern example is Bill Clinton. And his ability to rise over any kind of controversy because of his ability of how to word what in which way, knowing exactly where the weak spot of the person is. Machiavellian in a sense. Which is an application of I think is a good example.
I also imagine that a lot of great leaders need to have this particular intelligence if they've got to motivate, carry people with them.
Gardner argues that interpersonal and verbal intelligence, I think, play a very leadership, hold over very large people, like Gandhiji had in the case of the independent. Nike or Roosevelt and Churchill during the war. I think it was an uncanny combination of obvious interpersonal intelligence, being able to suss out what is the man on the street thinking, and then to be able to articulate in a way that is unforgettable.
Are these intelligences that people are born with, or can you nurture them into existence?
Well, I mean, this is at the heart of the classic nature versus nurture debate. I think the position Gardner has taken is that these are biophysical tendencies. So we are born with this, and it is a potential which exists.
For every M.F. Hussain who got discovered as a visual genius and every A.R. Rahman who got discovered as a musical genius, there are probably hundreds of kids whose genius has gone unnoticed, who were considered duds in school because they didn't get great marks. Alas, so many kids leave school feeling lousy about themselves.
Current education system is so predisposed with putting in, right from 2.5-year-olds being forced to write, forced to conform to entrance exams. You know, I think people will go to jail in 10 years' time for this. Or I certainly hope so.
During the break, take a moment to think about what may be your natural intelligence. Look, and you're likely to find it. Mostly we don't even look because we are trained to notice only one kind of intelligence, the academic kind. After the break, how to raise smart kids. Psychologists say that one way to discover your genius is to look at what you love doing. What are you intrinsically motivated by? What would you do even if you didn't have to? Do you, for instance, always have your nose in a book? Can you spend hours solving puzzles? Can you intuitively recognize rhythm? Look at these aptitudes closely because they may be your gifts saying, here we are, claim us. workshops with children, teachers and parents. What are some of the things that you tell them that makes them go, wow, I didn't even think of this before?
Observe. That's usually the first place we start with almost any adult when we talk of children. Anyone who takes the time to observe their children carefully will learn a lot of things. You don't need to read books for that. It just blows my mind how mothers just interrupt their children. Khana khane aa jao. And that child is like under that train, pulling that wheel out and trying to understand what happens that the wheel moves when I press this button. That's an act of worship. That's probably a future engineer leveraging his, you could call it spatial intelligence along with his kinesthetic intelligence. But if we watched our children more carefully, we'd have more respect for them.
For many years now, success has been spelled MBA. But researchers like Daniel Pink, author of A Whole New Mind, believes that the future belongs to very different kinds of skills. From the left brain strengths like logic, accounting, programming and marketing, the future is going to demand more of the fluid right brain strengths like design, empathy, the ability to see the big picture and the search for meaning. In the years to come, these subtler yearnings of the right brain will demand to be fed.
The ability to express yourself creatively is going to be a very big idea in the next 20 years. So,
what do you mean express yourself creatively?
I think design, I think aesthetic expression, whether it's in the form of music or the arts, or I think a lot of what India can bring to the world is more than the BPO worldview, where you're basically executing somebody else's design.
I was wondering if there's any implication in all of this understanding of intelligences for adults as well.
I think it makes great business sense to have a diverse workforce. I'm not coming from a moral viewpoint or a charitable viewpoint about what kind of workplace. But if you're going to have people who all think alike, the chances are they'll never contradict each other, the chances are they'll all do the same things, the chances are that the bar will never go higher. So if you take any happening place, I mean, look at Google, I mean, the biggest story in the last 10 years. Just look at the kind of leadership, look at everything, the work products, the work culture, the way they advertise, the way they do things.
So specifically, what are the ways in which we as parents fail to appreciate our children fully?
Expectation. Expectation kills the possibility of you learning something about what your child can do. You've already decided that you want this one to be a doctor, and especially be a doctor because you couldn't be one. And in that, you have put a blindfold, taken this thing and put over yourself. This guy may be singing like a tansen, but there's no chance of you appreciating that because you've decided you want the kid to be a doctor. I think another way people kind of ruthlessly kill creativity or possibility for children is ignorance. People have no idea of the kind of opportunities that exist today for children. अब देखिए चीड़ के बीज में से कोई देवदार तो निकलेगा नहीं. चीड़ के बीज में से चीड़ ही निकलेगा. So the best you can do is to get a pine tree, a glorious tall pine tree, and that is your duty as the gardener. God did not give you any other license.
That's a nice analogy to think of yourself, if you're a parent, as a gardener.
Yes. As a Howard Gardner, no pun intended.
What seed is in my garden and how can I best fertilize it and make it?
That's your only karma, that's your only dharma. You have no other calling. You cannot impose.
As a starting point, what would you, if you could speak to parents, what would you want to tell them?
घूंघट का बोल रहे तो पिया मिलेंगे. You know?
That's really fun.
No, I think my one soundbite to parents would be, कि घूंघट का पट खोल रहे तो पिया मिलेंगे.